And tonight, let's talk about some things that you as a foreigner should probably avoid doing while being here in the Philippines.
I'm trying to remember the point I was going to make.
Thing number the first, talking about history. I don't really care how extensive you think your historical knowledge of the Philippines is. The truth of the matter is, it's probably not very accurate. When I say that it's probably not very accurate, I kind of mean that there are two sides to every story, and of course, in the West, we don't get the half that's taught over here. Not only that, it's also important to remember that a lot of things are politicized over here in a way that they simply aren't in the West. One example I can pull out of thin air is the fact that the only thing I knew about Imelda Marcos before I moved here to the Philippines was that she owned a lot of shoes. However, since moving here about 3 years ago, I've picked up a lot more knowledge about it. I can only imagine the number of times I would have put my foot in my mouth had I spoken up about what I thought before I actually did a little bit of research and educated myself. And that brings us to point number the second. Try to stay away from politics whenever possible, and this is for multiple reasons. First things first, politics here in the Philippines, they don't really work the same way that politics work in the US, Canada, and so on. Give yourself some time to acclimate and to make sure that you understand what's going on before you comment. One major note is the fact that rather than in the States where there are two major parties and several what you call third parties, here in the Philippines, you end up with what kind of amounts to a lot of different parties that represent a lot of different interests. During an administration, you have the administration party, the opposition party, and any others that pop up around whatever issues are relevant at the time. When in doubt, don't be scared to say, I don't have an opinion on that. Or one of my favorites is, I simply don't know enough to have an opinion on that. Remember, there's nothing wrong with ignorance. There is something wrong with willful ignorance. Even when it comes to your fellow expats, remember that if you find someone who you enjoy spending time with, sometimes politics can get in the way of that. Politics in the US is more polarized now than it ever has been. So if you've got a friend who's an ultra-right conservative or an ultra-left liberal, the best idea is to just avoid the topic whenever possible, because expat friends are kind of in low supply here. So why would you let petty things come between you? I know I've already kind of covered history and politics, but it's also important to mention not to bring up things that you think you might have kind of heard when it comes to politics and whatnot. And this is something that has helped me avoid many an uncomfortable conversation with many an Uber driver. You too, Grab drivers. So that really kind of just boils down to, if you don't know what you're talking about, stay away from the topic. And if you do know what you're talking about and think that it's probably not best to have that conversation, take that second, weigh your options, then decide whether you're going to have that conversation. Away from politics and away from history, it's also important to know that as an expat here in the Philippines, unless you have gotten certain statuses, you're not allowed to be part of any kind of a political protest. Though it may be fun and make you feel righteous to stand next to your Filipino brethren or sisterin, is sisterin a word? For a cause that you believe in, it may end up getting you thrown out of the country because that's something that you don't have the right to do here. So here's a really weird one that I actually thought I wouldn't put in the video, but we'll go ahead and talk about it anyway. Especially if you're a guy, try not to spend too much time around children. I've heard from a few of my Filipino friends that there used to be TV shows and or movies here in the Philippines that sort of painted like expats, specifically white guys, as sort of straw men villains in the way that they would come and they would steal people's children and lock them up, or that they would do sick and perverted nasty things. And yeah, most people realize that that was just TV, but it did sort of start a stereotype where sometimes people look at you sideways when you're spending too much time with children or young people. Or we're also still fighting stigma from current day where some expats read white people are known for being sex tourists. Also, as an expat, you may come here to the Philippines, and if you're in certain places, you may realize that there are children asking you for money or trying to sell you goods, like little necklaces and that sort of thing. It's very important that you do not participate in this. There's a really good reason that you do not want to give money to these children. It's something that morally you probably don't want to be a part of, And even if it's not a moral issue for you, it is something that can get you arrested. That's right, there are laws on the books about this. So, yeah, just don't do it. And thing number the last, have too much fun. Now, I know some of you are gonna say, I don't care what you say I've done, but I ain't never had too much fun. But I say that's a song lyric. I hope that this video has been helpful for you. If it has, let us know in the comment section down below. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all those things that make me love my job. Also, be awesome to yourself and amazing to each other. Bye! Thank you so much for watching today's vlog. If you'd like to watch more content, that's on screen now. Also, if you'd like to support this channel, you can find a Patreon link at the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Next vlog,